The screen door slammed behind me like a gunshot in the quiet Ohio night. My father's bellow. "Get out and don't come back, you disgrace," still ringing in my ears as I stumbled down the porch steps into the pouring rain. My mother's wail cut through the storm. "Tommy? Please, God help us." But she didn't follow, her hands pressed to the window like bars on a prison cell, her eyes pleading for a miracle that wouldn't come. At 17, soaked to the bone with nothing but a backpack of clothes and a heart shattered into pieces, I turned my back on the only home I'd known, whispering to the darkness, "If this is love, I'd rather be alone forever." That night in 2008, as the bus rumbled out of Dayton toward the lights of Chicago, I replayed it all like a bad movie reel. It started innocently enough. A high school dance where I'd stolen a glance too long at Jake Harlan, the quarterback with eyes like summer cornfields. Whispers turned to rumors, rumors to confrontation. Dad found the crumpled note in my jeans pocket. "Meet me after practice? G." He'd waited for me after school, his truck idling like a predator, and dragged me home by the collar. Mom tried to intervene, her Bible trembling in her hands, quoting verses about confusion and prayer. But Dad? He was fire and brimstone. A factory foreman who'd built his life on straight lines and silent suffering. "You're not my son," he'd spat, veins bulging in his neck. "Not like this." The bus hit a pothole, jolting me back. I pressed my forehead against the grimy window, watching suburbs blur into farmland. What now? I'd scraped together $50 from mowing lawns, enough for a one-way ticket and maybe a hostel bed. Friends? Jake had ghosted me the second the rumors hit. His dad a deacon at church. Extended family? Aunt Linda in Cleveland had cut ties years ago after her own divorce disgraced the family name. No, this was it, me against the world or whatever scraps of it I could claim. Chicago greeted me with a gray dawn and a wind that sliced through my thin jacket like Judgment Day. Union Station was a chaos of suits and screams, vendors hawking coffee that smelled like freedom. I bought a stale bagel with my last $10 and wandered out, the skyline looming like a promise or a threat. Lake Michigan's waves crashed nearby, mirroring the turmoil in my chest. I found a youth shelter in Boys Town by sheer dumb luck, following a rainbow flag fluttering defiantly in the breeze. The intake worker, a burly guy named Marco with tattoos snaking up his arms, took one look at my drowned rat appearance and pulled me into a hug that smelled like coffee and old leather. "First time on the streets, kid?" he asked, handing me a towel. I nodded, throat tight. Kicked out. For, you know. He did know. Boys Town was a lifeline for queer kids like me. A pocket of pink in the city's concrete jungle. That first week blurred into survival mode. Hot meals that tasted like salvation. Group therapy where tears flowed freer than the booze at Dad's poker nights. And bunk beds that creaked under the weight of nightmares. I met kids from everywhere. Lila from Texas, beaten for her trans dreams. Devin from Detroit, orphaned after AIDS, claimed his folks. We shared stories like contraband, laughing through the pain because what else could we do? But nights were the worst. I'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling cracks that mapped out my fractured life, wondering if Mom was praying for my soul or just for the neighbors not to gossip. Dad's words echoed, "Fix yourself, or you're dead to us." Fix, like a busted carburetor in his beloved Ford? I wasn't broken. I was just me. Tommy Ellis, the kid who loved baseball cards and cherry coke, who felt his heart stutter when boys smiled his way. Gay. The word tasted like rebellion now, sharp and unapologetic. By month 2, I had a part-time gig at a diner off Halsted Street, flipping burgers for minimum wage, dodging grease burns and leering customers. It wasn't glamour, but it was mine. That's where I met Alex. He slid into a booth one rainy Tuesday, shaking out an umbrella that dripped like my memories. Mid-20s with tousled brown hair and a smile that lit the room like Wrigley Field on opening day. He ordered a black coffee and pancakes, then spent the next hour sketching in a notebook while I stole glances between orders. "You draw?" I asked on his third visit, wiping down the counter. He flipped the pad toward me. A charcoal sketch of the diner's neon sign, glowing against the night. "Guilty. Name's Alex Rivera." "You?" "Tommy." Just Tommy. I felt my cheeks heat, that old flutter in my gut. We talked easy, like we'd known each other forever. He was an art student at the School of the Art Institute, crashing with roommates in Wicker Park. Grew up in a big Mexican-American family in Pilsen, where Sundays meant tamales and soccer in the park. "They know about me," he said one night, as we walked the lakefront after my shift, the city lights dancing on the water. Mom cried, but Dad hugged me tighter, said blood's thicker than fear. I envied that. Mine didn't, kicked me out. Haven't spoken since. His hand brushed mine, tentative, electric. "They're lost, Tommy. You're gold." That was the start. Dates followed, cheap slices at Pequod's Pizza, stolen kisses under the bean at Millennium Park. His fingers tracing patterns on my back as we binge-watched old John Hughes films on his lumpy couch. Alex made me believe in second chances, in love that didn't demand you hide. He was my anchor in the storm, the one who held me when panic attacks clawed at my chest, whispering, "You're safe here. We're safe." But Chicago's underbelly has teeth. I climbed the ladder at the diner to line cook, saved for community college classes in graphic design. Ironic, sketching rainbows for ad campaigns while nursing bruises from a slip on the grill. Alex graduated, landed a gig at a trendy agency downtown, his sketches turning into billboards. We dreamed big. A studio apartment with exposed brick, weekend getaways to the dunes at Indiana Dunes. "Someday we'll have it all," he'd say, our legs tangled under threadbare sheets. Then came the conflict, subtle as a crack in the foundation. Alex's family visited for his birthday, warm chaos of laughter and empanadas. I met them at a backyard barbecue, nervous as a cat in a thunderstorm. His mom enveloped me in a hug, her eyes twinkling. "Mijo, you make him smile like I haven't seen since he was little." Dad clapped my shoulder, shared stories of his own youth dodging factory shifts. It was everything I'd lost, handed to me on a platter. For the first time, I tasted what family could be without strings. But envy festered. Late nights, I'd scroll old photos on a burner Facebook account. Mom's forced smile at church picnics, Dad's proud grin at my Little League trophies. A Christmas card arrived once, unsigned, with a $20 bill tucked inside. From Santa. It broke me. Alex found me sobbing on the fire escape, the wind whipping through our alley. "Why them?" I choked. "Why couldn't they try?" He held me, but his eyes held shadows. "Some people can't change, Tommy. You deserve better." I wanted to believe him. We moved in together that fall. A shoebox in Logan Square with creaky floors and a view of the L train rumbling like our heartbeat. Life felt solid until the betrayal hit like a sucker punch. It was a Friday 6 months in. I'd planned a surprise. Tickets to a Cubs game, hot dogs and hope under the ivy. But Alex was late, phone dead. I paced our apartment, the clock ticking like a bomb. When he finally stumbled in, reeking of whiskey and regret, his shirt untucked, I knew before he spoke. "Tommy, Who?" My voice cracked, fists clenched. He collapsed onto the couch, head in hands. "It's nothing. A mistake. That client mixer. Too many drinks." "Client?" I echoed, the word poison. "The one from New York? The one you said was just business?" He nodded, tears streaking his face. I panicked. "We were fighting about money, about your folks not helping with rent, and he made me feel wanted. Like I mattered." Betrayal burned hotter than any grease fire. It wasn't just the act. It was the lie, the fracture in our us that mirrored every rejection I'd endured. "You think this fixes anything?" I yelled, hurling the tickets at his feet. "I'm not some pity project, Alex. I'm not." He reached for me, but I recoiled. "I love you, Tommy. This doesn't change that." "Love." I laughed bitterly, grabbing my keys. "Love doesn't sneak around. Love fights." I stormed out, the door echoing that old slam from Ohio. The streets blurred as I walked, neon signs mocking my unraveling world. Hours later, I crashed at Marco's place, the shelter's founder now a reluctant uncle figure. "Hearts heal, kid," he said over lukewarm tea. "But trust? That's the real scar." Days turned to weeks of radio silence. Alex's texts piled up. Apologies, please, promises. I threw myself into work, into night classes where I poured pain into pixels, designing logos that screamed resilience. Boys Town became my confessional, group circles where I admitted, I thought he was different, thought I was enough. But doubt crept in. Was I, the kicked-out kid, baggage heavier than my backpack? Alex showed up at the diner one shift, hollow-eyed, flowers wilting in his fist. Forgive me, he begged through the pass-through window. I was scared of us failing like your family. I slid him a coffee, black as my mood. You don't get to use them as an excuse. Fix yourself first. He left, but not for good. We danced that awkward tango. Coffee run-ins, tentative texts, a makeup kiss in the rain that tasted like redemption. Slowly, we rebuilt brick by careful brick. Therapy for him, boundaries for me. No more secrets. We vowed under the harvest moon at a rooftop party, his hands steady in mine. Years slipped by like pages in a well-worn sketchbook. By 2015, I was 24, a junior designer at a queer-owned firm in the Loop, my portfolio bursting with campaigns for pride parades and trans rights orgs. Alex and I had upgraded to a one-bedroom with a balcony overlooking the Chicago River, where we'd toast sunsets with craft IPAs. Life wasn't perfect. Arguments flared over his late nights, my trust issues, but it was ours. Human, messy, real. Then, the call came on a crisp October morning. My phone buzzed with an unknown number. Area code 937. Dayton. I let it go to voicemail, heart hammering. The message. Tommy? It's Mom. Please, we need to talk. Your dad's sick. Cancer. He wants to see you. The world tilted. Sick? The man who'd cast me out, now frail and fading? I played it again, her voice cracking like autumn leaves. Alex found me frozen on the balcony. Phone clutched like a grenade. Go, he said simply, kissing my temple. Not for him. For you. The flight to Ohio was a blur of turbulence and tears. Landing in Dayton felt like stepping into a ghost town. Same flat fields, same strip malls, but everything sharper, accusatory. Mom waited at arrivals, older, grayer, her hug tentative as a truce flag. You look good, son, she whispered, eyes red-rimmed. So good. Dad was at home, a ranch house in a subdivision that screamed middle-class dreams deferred. The chemo had hollowed him. His once broad shoulders slumped under a faded OSU hoodie. He lay in the living room recliner, oxygen tubes snaking to his nose, the TV murmuring a Bengals game. When I walked in, our eyes locked. Mine stormy, his watery with something like shame. Tommy, he rasped, voice gravel. You came. I stood rigid, arms crossed. Mom said you wanted to see me. He nodded, wincing as he shifted. I've got months, maybe. Stage 4. And all I can think about is that night. The door. What I said. The room thickened. Mom hovering like a shadow. We were wrong, she interjected, twisting her apron. Church said, pray it away. But you were our boy. Always. Dad's hand trembled as he reached for mine. I let him take it, the calluses rough against my skin. Reminders of assembly lines and unspoken loves. I was scared, son. Scared of what folks would say, scared you'd burn in hell. But hell? It's this. Knowing I lost you. Tears blurred my vision. You didn't lose me, Dad. You threw me away. He sobbed then, deep and guttural, the sound ripping through years of silence. Forgive me, please. I see it now, your sketches Mom saved, the life you built. Proud. I'm so damn proud. We talked for hours, halting at first, then flooding like the Great Miami River in spring. Stories spilled. My designs in national mags, Alex's gallery show in Soho. Their regrets. The therapy they started too late, the pride flags they hung in secret. Betrayal lingered, a thorn, but so did love. Twisted, flawed, American as apple pie with a side of dysfunction. By week's end, I'd extended my stay, helping with meals, driving to treatments. Alex flew in, his presence a bomb. Dad even cracked a joke about That artist fella keeping you in line. It wasn't erasure. The hurt ran deep, a riverbed scarred by floods. But redemption? It bloomed in small acts. Mom's tamale recipe swapped for Alex's guac. Dad's shaky thumbs up at a photo of our commitment ceremony. He passed in December, snow blanketing the gravesite like forgiveness. At the funeral I spoke, voice steady, heart full. He taught me strength, I said to aunts and cousins who'd whispered back then. And love? That's the real fight. Back in Chicago, Alex and I stood on our balcony, city lights winking like stars. You okay? He asked, arm around my waist. I leaned into him, the weight lifting like morning fog. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's enough. In the end, family wasn't blood or banishment. It was choosing every damn day to show up, to forgive not for them, but for the boy who'd braved the rain. And in that choice, I found my home. Not a house, but a horizon wide as the lake, bright with possibility. The winter after Dad's funeral wrapped Chicago in a hush of snowdrifts and salted streets. But inside me, something thawed. I'd flown back to Ohio 3 more times that year, once for Mom's birthday, armed with a care package of deep dish pizza mix and a framed print of Alex's skyline sketch. Another for Easter, where we awkwardly shared a ham dinner with my cousin's kids. Their innocent questions about Uncle Tommy's friend, slicing through the tension like butter. The last was just because, a Sunday drive up I-75, blasting Springsteen on the rental car stereo, pulling over at a rest stop to call Alex and say, I miss you, but this feels right. Redemption wasn't a straight line. It zigzagged like the river winding through the city. Mom dove into PFLAG meetings, her emails now peppered with rainbow emojis and articles on affirming faith. She'd send photos of Dad's old toolbox, repurposed as a planter for petunias. He'd hate how pretty it looks, she'd joke, but her eyes in the video calls shone with mischief. It humanized her, stripped away the saintly facade I'd built in exile. She was just Ellen Ellis, a woman who'd traded scripture for second chances. Me? I threw myself into work with a fervor that bordered on obsession. My firm landed a contract with the Ali Forney Center, designing materials for homeless LGBTQ youth, brochures with taglines like, Your story starts here, infographics mapping safe houses from Seattle to Miami. It felt like paying it forward, turning my backpack days into blueprints for escape routes. Late nights in the studio, coffee going cold beside my Wacom tablet, I'd sketch faces, wide-eyed kids like I'd been, emerging from shadows into sunlight. Alex noticed the drift. You're a ghost in our bed, he'd murmur one February night. As flurries danced outside our frost-laced windows, we were curled on the couch, a half-eaten Thai takeout container between us, some Netflix rom-com droning in the background. His fingers traced the tattoo on my forearm, a small compass rose I'd gotten on my 19th birthday, needle buzzing while Marco held my hand. North is wherever you are, the artist had said. Cheesy but true. I'm processing, I admitted, head on his shoulder. Dad's gone, Mom's trying, but what if it's too late? What if I can't let go? He tilted my chin up, eyes soft as Lake Michigan on a calm day. It's never too late for you, Tommy. You're the one who showed up. That's the win. His words landed like grace notes in a blues riff. We made love that night. Not the frantic reclaiming after his betrayal, but slow, deliberate, a reaffirmation. His touch mapped the years. The scar on my knee from a diner slip, the freckles across my chest like constellations. I choose you, he whispered against my skin, echoing our vows from that rooftop 2 summers back. Rings simple silver bands engraved with always. Spring brought green shoots, literal and not. We adopted a mutt from the Anti-Cruelty Society, a scruffy terrier mix we named Scout, after the tomboy in that old book Dad used to read me. Scout's boundless energy forced walks along the 606 trail, where cherry blossoms rained pink petals, and Alex and I hashed out futures over dog treats. Kids? He ventured one afternoon, tossing a frisbee as Scout bounded after it. Surrogacy, maybe? Or fostering? The idea terrified and thrilled me. With my luck, I'd be the dad who shows up with crayons and therapy coupons. He laughed, pulling me close. Perfect. They'd love you. Mom visited that June, her first trip east of the Mississippi since the 70s. We met her at O'Hare. Scouts leash taut with excitement. Alex carrying a bouquet of daisies. Neutral ground, he'd quipped. The reunion was a masterclass in awkward charm. Mom cooing over the dog, Alex charming her with stories of his abuela's secret mole recipe. Me navigating the minefield of, how's the firm? Without dredging up the past. Our apartment became a neutral zone. Fresh sheets on the guest futon. A stack of LGBTQ memoirs on the coffee table like olive branches. Over wine, hers white, ours red. She opened up. After you left, I drove to that shelter in Dayton. The one for kids like you. Volunteered for years. Wish I'd done it sooner. I squeezed her hand. The one that used to braid my hair. You did it now. That's something. The climax of her stay was Pride, the mother of all redemption arcs. We bundled her into the fray on Halstead. Rainbow flags snapping in the breeze. Drag queens on floats belting show tunes. Mom clutched my arm, wide-eyed at the spectacle. Leather daddies, face-painted allies. A sea of love unapologetic and loud. When a group of activists handed her a proud parent pin, she pinned it to her blouse right there. Tears carving tracks through glitter-smeared cheeks. This is what family looks like, she said, voice fierce. Alex and I exchanged glances over her head. Pride. Not just in the parade, but in this fragile bridge we'd built. That night, back home with pizza boxes and scouts snoring at our feet, Mom raised her glass. To Tommy, for teaching us how to love right. It was the closest to absolution I'd get. She flew home the next day, but the pin stayed on her fridge, a beacon in grainy webcam shots. Summer deepened the hues. Alex's career skyrocketed. A solo exhibit at the MCA, his pieces exploring queer cartographies. Maps of hidden histories inked with lovers' initials. I tagged along to the opening, suit crisp, scout boarded with Marco. The gallery buzzed with critics and collectors, champagne flutes clinking like chimes. Alex's hand found mine in the crowd, steady as ever. This one's for us, he said, nodding to a canvas of intertwined paths. Chicago's grid overlaid with Ohio farmlands. But shadows lingered. A client dinner ran late one August eve. Alex's phone silent till midnight. Paranoia, that old beast, clawed up. Memories of whiskey breath and lies. When he tumbled in, Ty Askew, I was awake, Scout's head in my lap. Good night, I asked, tone sharper than intended. He paused, reading me like a well-worn book. Great, actually. Closed the deal. But I see that look. Tommy. I'm sorry. I deflated, pulling him down. Ghosts. We talked it out as we did now, therapy schooled, no stone unturned. Your betrayal was mine to own, he said, vulnerability raw. But your pain? It's ours to carry. Fall brought change. Mom's emails turned to calls about selling the house, downsizing to a condo near the river. Too many memories, she confessed. Good and bad. Time for new. I flew down for the packing, boxes labeled in her neat script. Kitchen, donate. Tommy's room, keep. His room was a time capsule. Baseball glove on the shelf, posters of Michael Jordan peeling at the edges. In the closet, tucked behind winter coats, a shoebox of my things. Report cards, a lock of baby hair, that unsigned Christmas card from years back. And at the bottom, Dad's old journal, leather-bound and dusty. Heart-pounding, I cracked it open. Entries spanned decades, factory gripes, Mom's recipes, my little league wins. Then, post-kick-out, Tommy gone. My fault. Praying he finds peace. God, forgive this fool. Page after page of regret, scrawled in fading ink. Saw a kid on TV like him. Should have hugged, not hollered. The last entry, dated weeks before his diagnosis. If I could turn back, I'd say, I love you, son, gay or not. Write him. Tomorrow. He never did. Cancer came swift. But those words, they mended cracks I didn't know were gaping. Back in Chicago, I shared the journal with Alex over cider at our local half-acres ponk, malty and warm. He tried, in his way, I said, tracing the spine. Alex nodded, thumb stroking mine. And you? You're the redemption story, Tommy. Not them. Winter circled back, softer this time. Mom moved west to be near a cousin in Phoenix. Her condo a sun-drenched haven with cacti and a welcome mat that read, "Love lives here." We visited for Thanksgiving, turkey with green chili twist, Scout chasing lizards in the yard. No drama, just ease. Board games where Alex trounced us at Scrabble with quixotic, Mom's laughter ringing true. As 2017 dawned, life layered on. I got promoted lead designer, heading a team of 5, all queer and fierce. Alex's exhibit toured, landing in galleries from LA to NYC. We talked ringside seats to history. Obergefell echoes still fresh, trans rights marches fueling our fire. We're winning, Alex said one New Year's, fireworks blooming over the lake. One heart at a time. But victory has costs. A call from Mom in March. Cousin Jerry's asking questions. About you. Church folk stirring. I braced. I'm not hiding. She did better, invited him over, showed the journal, the pin. He left quieter. Seeds planted. Small battles, but ours. Spring bloomed with a surprise. Alex on one knee at the dunes, sand shifting under us, waves whispering consent. Not a proposal, a promise. Marry me? Legally, messily, forever. Tears mixed with salt spray. Yes, God, yes. The wedding was June, backyard affair in Logan Square. String lights, tacos from Alex's fam, Mom toasting with tears. Scout as ring bearer tripping over his bow tie. Vows exchanged under an arbor of wildflowers. I choose you, through betrayals and bridges. Honeymoon in the Keys. Lazy days kayaking mangroves. Nights with conch shells to our ears. Listening for home. Back home, life resumed. Designs due, dogs walked, love nurtured. Years layered like sedimentary rock. By 2020, pandemic locked us in, but we baked sourdough, zoomed with Mom, fostered a litter of kittens till they found homes. Alex's art turned activist. Murals for Black trans lives. Canvases screaming, "See us." I followed, my firm pivoting to virtual pride tools. Mom's health dipped, a hip replacement, then steady. We flew her up for holidays. Her stories now legends. Your dad would have loved this pup. Forgiveness wasn't forgetting. It was forwarding, page by page. In 2023, a letter arrived from Aunt Linda, the one who'd ghosted post-divorce. Saw your work online. Proud. Can we talk? Turns out, she'd been following from afar. Her own regrets a mirror. Coffee in Phoenix. Awkward but open. I was wrong. Families for fixing, not fleeing. Redemption rippled. By 2025, our circle widened. Dinners with Jerry and his wife. Pride floats where Mom marched arm in arm with us. Scout grayed at the muzzle, but his joy undimmed. One evening, balcony perch with IPAs, Alex mused. Think Dad's watching? Smiling. I nodded, city hum below. Yeah, and he's sorry. But we're good. Humanity's the arc. Bent, but bending toward light. Kicked out, yes. But redeemed? In every choice to return to love louder. That's the American dream, queered and claimed. 2025 hit like a heat wave, sticky and insistent. The kind that makes Chicago's streets shimmer and tempers fray. I turned 34 that spring, a milestone marked with a quiet dinner at the Purple Pig. Porchetta sliders and a cake Alex smuggled in, candles flickering like fireflies. Mom sent a card from Phoenix. To my brave boy, love always. Enclosed was a check for the house fund. Her pension's quiet rebellion against years of penny-pinching piety. The house. We'd been circling the idea since the wedding, scrolling Zillow late nights, Scout snoring at our feet. Not some McMansion, but a fixer-upper in Andersonville. Scandinavian bakeries on the corner, a park for dog romps, space for more kids maybe, or just a studio for Alex's oils, a nook for my drafting table. Roots? Alex called it one humid July morning, as we toured a sagging Victorian with peeling gingerbread trim. Ours to plant. I hesitated at the threshold, ghosts whispering. What if it's like Ohio? Walls closing in. He spun me, hands on hips. Then we paint 'em rainbow. Your call, Tommy. We put an offer that week, nerves jangling like loose change. Closing day was chaos. Movers hauling boxes of art supplies and dog beds. Mom FaceTiming from her condo balcony. Cacti framing her grin. Hang those curtains first, the ones from IKEA. Make it homey. Home. The word still pinched sometimes. A bruise fading but tender. Our first night, we camped in the living room, air mattresses and takeout falafel, Scout claiming the hardwood as his kingdom. Alex sketched the empty rooms by flashlight, lines bold and dreaming. Living room, gallery wall of us. Kitchen, breakfast bar for lazy Sundays. Bedroom, king, no more elbows and ribs, but settling unearthed strata. Unpacking Dad's journal triggered a dive. Letters I drafted but never sent, tucked in a drawer like unsent postcards. One from 2010. Dad, it's been 2 years. I aced my finals today. Wish you could have seen. Another from 2016, post-betrayal. Hurts teaching me, like you said work did. Alex and I. We're trying. I burned them in the backyard fire pit that fall. Ashes swirling like released regrets. Goodbye, I whispered to the smoke. We're square. Work amped up. My team greenlit a national campaign for the Trevor Project. PSAs with taglines like, "It gets better. Believe it." Filming on the lakefront. Actors mirroring my younger self. Backpacks slung, eyes defiant. Alex cameoed as a mentor figure, his warmth bleeding through the lens. Critics raved. Calls poured in from orgs wanting collabs. Success tasted sweet, but success without roots? Hollow. Enter Elias. 22, intern fresh from UIUC, all sharp wit and sharper sketches. He shadowed me that September, laptop perpetually open, questions tumbling like dominoes. How'd you pivot from diner grease to this? He'd ask over coffee runs, hazel eyes curious behind wire rims. Stubbornness, I'd quip. And good people. He was good people, queer, out since 16. Family in Milwaukee who'd thrown a coming-out barbecue complete with Team Elias teas. Envy nipped, but so did kinship. Late nights brainstorming, pizza boxes piling, his ideas sparked mine. Interactive maps for crisis hotlines, gamified support chats. You're a natural. I told him one crunch deadline eve, high-fiving over a mock-up. Alex raised an eyebrow at home, unpacking the latest IKEA haul. New protege? Sounds familiar. I laughed, dodging a throw pillow. Jealous? He's half your age and twice the nerd. Twice? Ouch. But his kiss lingered, possessive and playful. Trust rebuilt is sturdy, but vigilance lingers, like checking locks twice after a break-in. October brought storms, literal and not. Mom's call came mid-hurricane watch. Tommy, it's Jerry. He's coming out. To the family reunion. My cousin, the deacon's son, the golden boy with the perfect wife and 2.5 kids. After all this time? Blames the church mostly. But your story. It gave him courage. Journal too. He's citing Dad like scripture. Pride swelled, tangled with ache. The reunion was Thanksgiving. Ohio bound on a red-eye. Alex in tow with his sketchpad for inspiration. The old VFW hall in Dayton hummed with kin, turkey on formica tables, Jell-O salads wobbling like guilty consciences. Aunts air-kissed, uncles clapped backs, kids darted under legs. Jerry pulled me aside by the pie table, sweat beading despite the AC. Thanks, Tommy, for not hating us. I clapped his shoulder, echo of Dad. Hate's heavy. Let it go. He announced over coffee, voice steady. I'm gay. Have been. And I'm done hiding. Gasps rippled, then hugs. Tentative, then tight. Mom beamed from the corner, pin glinting. Alex sketched it all, furtive lines capturing the pivot. Driving back. 70 unspooling under headlights. Alex mused. Your ripple effect. Damn. Not mine. Theirs. November chilled, but our house warmed. Walls painted sage. shelves groaning with books and baubles. Elias's internship wrapped with a bang. His map app pitched to donors, funded on the spot. Couldn't without you, he said at the wrap party. Clinking sodas in a dive bar off Division. Pride prickled, mentor hat fitting snug. But Alex's exhibit opening loomed, a beast of its own. Queer Exiles. The series. Canvases of doorways ajar, figures silhouetted against horizons. Titles like Threshold and Return. Inspired by me, he'd admitted sheepishly. Critics swarmed the preview. Raw, resonant. One-penned. Sales funded a residency in Berlin. He turned it down. Not without you. Or Scout. We celebrated with momos at a Nepali spot, steam fogging windows. Berlin next year? I teased. Family vaki. His eyes lit. Deal. With rainbow bratwurst. December dusted snow, holiday lights strung like promises. Mom flew up, her gift a quilt. Patches from Dad's flannels, my old tees, Alex's bandanas. Family fabric, she said. Needles work mending more than cloth. But climax brewed in the quiet. New Year's Eve. House party with Elias and firm folks. Laughter echoing off fresh plaster. Midway, a knock. Jerry and his partner, Tim, suitcases in tow. Surprise detour. Can we crash? Turns out, church elders had cornered Jerry post-reunion. Ultimatums, whispers of damnation. He'd quit, packed up, headed north. Your city's got space for strays, he joked, but eyes begged. We cleared the couch, poured eggnog. Stories spilled till dawn. His hidden hookups, Tim's army discharge for conduct. Betrayal anew, but shared. Stay, I said. Build here. Morning brought decisions. Guest room for them, job hunts via my network. Alex nodded over breakfast burritos. Our house, their home. Spring 2026 unfurled tentative. Jerry tempied at a bookstore. Tim bartended at Sidetrack. Elias mentored them on apps, a chain of grace. Mom visited, her blessing a potluck. Ohio chili meets Chicago dogs. But conflict simmered. A firm merger loomed. Big corp buyout. Whispers of toning down the queer focus. Suits don't get rainbows. My boss griped in a tense all hands. Rage boiled. Then educate em. I rallied the team, mock-ups defiant. Billboards with love wins, period. The merger stalled, we stayed indie. Personal storm hit May. Alex's abuela passed, matriarch of pills and feasts. Funeral in the old neighborhood. Mariachi trumpets, marigolds carpeting the aisle. His grief hit hard, sketches abandoned, dinners skipped. She loved you, he sobbed one night. Our bed a tangle of limbs and loss. I held him, role reversed. And I love you. Through it. Therapy doubled. His for ancestral weight. Mine for the echo of Dad's fade. Grief's a cycle, the counselor said. Pedal on. Summer peaked with a wedding, Jerry and Tim's. Backyard bliss under fairy lights. I officiated. Vows I'd penned. In exile we found empire. Mom danced with Alex, her steps light. Fall harvested bounty. Our first foster placement. Teen named Riley, 16 and freshly out. Backpack fresh from a Bible Belt bus station. Heard about you, he mumbled, eyes down. The kicked-out guy who made it. We nodded, Scout sniffing his sneakers. Stick around. We'll show you. Nights blurred. Homework help. Coming out talks. Alex's portraits of Riley's dreams. Betrayal's ghost. Faded to footnote. By winter, Riley stabilized, high school credits, art class spark. Mom knitted him socks. For cold feet, literal and not. 2027 dawned golden. House full. Jerry / Tim in the carriage house we'd renovated. Riley's room a teen haven. My firm expanded, Elias promoted. Alex's book deal, Exiles Atlas, topped queer bestsellers. One April Eve, balcony gathering, IPAs and stars, Mom visiting. Look what you built, she marveled. Quilt draped over knees. I glanced round. Alex's hand in mine, Riley sketching nearby, Jerry toasting Tim. Us, I said. All of us. Humanity's not perfection. It's the messy mosaic, shards of hurt refired into stained glass. Kicked out? Yes. But redeemed in the return, the radical welcome. That's the light we chase, bright and unyielding. The mosaic cracked in ways we couldn't foresee. Because life, that stubborn bastard, loves a plot twist. It was late summer 2027. The air thick with cicada hum and the scent of phlox from our victory garden. Tomatoes ripening red as resolve. Riley had settled like dandelion seeds, his laughter a fixture at dinner, his sketches rivaling Alex's for whimsy. We'd enrolled him in community college prep, dreams of animation school bubbling in late-night chats over microwave popcorn. Gonna draw worlds where kids like me get capes, he'd say, eyes fierce. Jerry and Tim thrive too, bookstore to co-op ownership, bar to event planning for pride mixers. Their carriage house pulsed with life. Drag brunches, game nights spilling into our yard. Mom's visits stretched longer. Her condo sublet for extended family time. Phoenix is dry, she'd quip, fanning herself in our AC. This? It's alive. My firm hit stride, a partnership with Glad, toolkits for rural outposts, my designs in every statehouse lobby. Elias, now creative director, joked I was the godfather of graphics. Alex's book tour wrapped in San Francisco, where he'd inked deals for translations. Spanish first, for his roots. We jetted out for the finale, leaving Riley with the crew, Scout's toys strewn like confetti. The twist landed back home, a voicemail waiting on our landline. A relic Mom insisted on for emergencies. Tommy? It's Pastor Hale. From Dayton First Baptist. Your cousin Jerry. There's been an accident. Heart in throat, I called back. Details tumbled. A drunk driver on I-90. Jerry's car totaled on a supply run. Tim unscathed, but Jerry, broken ribs, collapsed lung, coma-induced. He's stable, Hale said, voice pious. But the family's rallying. Your mom asked for you. Alex drove us through rush hour snarl, his knuckles white on the wheel. This is your call, Tommy. But you're not alone. Hospital corridors smelled of antiseptic and regret. Fluorescent buzz mocking the heart monitor's beep. Tim met us in the ICU wait, hollow-cheeked, clutching a coffee like a lifeline. He swerved for a deer. Stupid hero. Hugs exchanged. Then the vigil, Mom arriving by shuttle, her face a map of worry lines. Jerry stirred 2 days in, groggy under tubes. Hey, trouble! He rasped when I leaned close, our hands linking like kids at a fair. Idiot. Scared us. Tears hot, but I grinned. Who'd I marry off next? His laugh hacked, but lit the room. Recovery stretched, rehab in Milwaukee, near his in-laws now. We rotated visits, our house echoing without his baritone jokes. Betrayal revisited. Not his, but fate's, yanking stability like a rug. Fall deepened the wound. Firm stress peaked. A client balked at 2 bold trans-inclusive ads. Execs pressuring cuts. Market research says tone it. They emailed. Rage simmered. I drafted a resignation, pixels pulsing with protest. Alex found it open on my screen one stormy night, thunder rattling windows. Whoa, walk away. I paced, Scout trailing. Or fight, but tired, man, of proving. He pulled me to the couch, quilt cocooning us. Then pivot. Your own studio. Elias backs you. Saw his text. Seed planted. By Halloween, we'd filed papers. Ellis Rivera Designs. Queer-led. Unapologetic. Clients flocked. Nonprofits, indie brands. Launch party packed our living room. Riley DJing indie tracks. Mom serving punch with a wink. But personal quake followed. Riley's bio dad surfaced. Letter via social worker. Post-prison release. Want to meet my boy? Custody whispers. Riley's face paling over breakfast. He ditched me at 5. Now. We lawyered up. Hearts heavy. Court dates loomed. Testimonies prepped. Our home, his progress. Alex and I held strategy sessions in the kitchen, coffee fueling resolve. He's ours, Alex vowed. Blood or chosen. Mom testified too, her voice steady. Family's not genes. It's grace. Judge ruled in our favor. Guardianship affirmed. Dad distant. Riley collapsed in hugs that night, sobs shaking. Thank you. For fighting. Winter wrapped wounds. Studio thrived. First big contract. Mural for a Chicago youth center. Alex's hands guiding mine on the scaffold. Snow fell soft, blanketing scaffolds like benediction. Spring 2028 bloomed defiant. Jerry walked. Cane first, then unaided. At a rehab picnic, Tim's arm steady. "Oh, you," he said, clinking bottles. Reunion plans hatched. Dayton, full circle. But conflict crested in May. A call from Ohio. Church schism. Hale's flock splitting over inclusivity. Jerry's accident spotlighted it. Funds diverted to his bills. Elders grumbling. Sins catching up. Mom, board member now. Pushed back. Heal. Don't hate. Backlash hit. Anonymous letters. Tires slashed on her hybrid. Go back to Sodom, one read. Fear chilled her resolve. She called me weeping. Too much. Fight or fold. I echoed Dad's old mill mantra. But we've got you. We rallied, Alex flying down, me zooming strategies. Mom stood firm, sermon on forgiveness drawing crowds. Schism healed, not whole but wider. Summer sizzled with weddings. Riley's high school graduation bash doubling as commitment to a classmate, sweet and shy. We catered, tears flowing freer than beer. Studio milestone. National award. Glitzy gala at the Palmer House. Suits starched, Alex's bow tie crooked, we posed for flashes. Elias toasted. To Tommy, the exile who mapped home. Fall harvested. Mom's retirement. Phoenix pad sold for a co-op in Evanston. Closer to us. Grandma practice, she winked, eyeing Riley. Climax brewed Thanksgiving. Full table. Jerry/Tim, Riley and Bo, Elias's new partner, Mom at head. Stories swirled, accidents add fights, dad letters. Laughter laced pain, pie crust flaking like old skins shed. Post-feast, fireside. Alex leaned in. Kids? For real? I nodded, heart full. Surrogacy. Start scouting. Winter whispered yes. Agency meets, profiles poured. Choice landed. A carrier named Sophia. Artist like Alex, laugh like moms. 2029 dawned pregnant, with promise. Scans, kicks, nursery painted sky blue. Studio expanded, hires queer and kin. Jerry's bookstore hosted readings. Alex's sequel, My Design Bible. But betrayal's echo. Sophia's scare. Spotting, bedrest. Panic clawed. We camped in her guest room, hands on belly. Strong, the doc said. Like you. Birth July 4th. Fireworks outside. Cries inside. Theo Rivera Ellis. 10 pounds of fury and calm. Alex cut cord. Tears streaming. I held him first, tiny fist clutching finger. Hey kid. Welcome home. Mom cradled next, rocking porchside. Your dad. He'd melt. Riley cooed, Jerry snapped pics. Family, fractal and fierce. Years blurred. Theo's firsts. Crawl across studio floors. Words mangled over breakfast. Sophia stayed auntie. Visits laced with art swaps. School runs, soccer sidelines, me coaching, Alex cheering. 2030's layered legacy. Mom's 80th. Surprise cruise. Caribbean blues. Her dancing with Tim. Jerry's mayoral run in a suburb. Platform inclusive streets. Riley animated shorts, Oscar buzz. My book. Backpack to Blueprint. Memoirs of mapping queer lives. Signings packed. Dad's journal excerpted. Proud. Alex's gallery. Heirlooms. Portraits of Theo. Riley. Us. Lines of lineage chosen. One Eve 2035. Porch swing creaking. Theo asleep inside. Scout's successor yipping. Alex's head on shoulder. Worth the rain. Every drop. Kiss soft. Stars winking. Humanism's quiet thunder. Not grand gestures, but daily dawns. Kicked out, redeemed. Not by pleas, but presence. In the build, the birth, the belonging. That's the story, etched in light. Time, that sly river, carved deeper channels by 2040, polishing rough edges to a patina of peace laced with poignant what-ifs. Theo was 11 now, all gangly limbs and questions. Dad, why's Grandpa's picture faded? His finger tracing Dad's photo on the mantel, the one from my wallet, creased like a love letter. I'd kneel, voice steady. He was learning, buddy, like we all do. Took time, but he got there. Mom, at 85, held court from her Evanston perch. Knitting circle turned advocacy group. Rainbow yarns tangling tales of transformation. Slow your roll, Tommy, she chid over speakerphone, as Theo wrestled the dog. I outran you in the forgiveness race. She had. Her memoirs, self-published at 75. From Pew to Pride, sold out at local libraries. Her Dayton talks drawing elders who'd once shunned. Regrets a teacher, she'd say, voice gravel soft. Mine taught late but loud. The betrayal's scar? Faint now, a tattoo under clothes. Touched in quiet moments, not flaunted. Alex's slip, all those years back, had forged us fiercer. Annual check-ins. State of the Union dates at that same diner, burgers and brutal honesty. Still scared? He'd ask, ketchup-smeared grin. Less. You. Never of you. Hand across vinyl, anchor eternal. But 2040 brought tremors. Climate weirding. Chicago summers scorching. Winter's phantom. Our garden wilted. Theo's soccer games canceled for heat domes. Firm pivoted. Eco-queer designs. Billboards for resilient communities. Sustainability's intersectional. I pitched at conferences. Alex's murals greening urban walls. Personal quake. Jerry's diagnosis. Prostate. Early catch. Echoes of Dad chilled us. Chemo cycles meant sleepovers. Twins bunking with Theo in a fort of blankets. Uncle Jay's tough, Theo declared, drawing capes for cancer warriors. Jerry, bald and beaming, tacked them to his fridge. My super squad. Mom rallied, driving shuttles in her hybrid. Soups simmered with love. Men and their machines, she'd mutter, stirring pots. Remission hit Christmas. Tree trimmed with fighter ornaments. Carols belted off-key. Spring 2041 flowered fragile. Theo's school project, family tree, branches drawn with markers, leaves labeled, chosen in green, blood in red. His included us, Riley, Jerry's crew, even Sophia and her kids across states. Grandpa Ellis? He asked, crayon poised. I hesitated. Then, red leaf, with a rainbow vein. Story shared, kick out, comeback, age appropriate, ache intact. Theo hugged tight. He missed out, but we got extras. Summer scorched, but we escaped. Boundary Waters canoe trip, Alex's idea for unplug. Tents pitched lakeside, loons calling dusk. Theo fished. Riley canoed tandem with his hubs. Mom napped under birches. Nights round fire, marshmallows toasting, tales turned mythic. My bus ride, Alex's first sketch of me. Diner counter, coffee steam hearts. Betrayal? Theo piped, 11 going wise. Like in stories? Alex glanced my way. Yeah, kid. But Redemption's the sequel. Better plot. Fall harvested health. Jerry clear. Mom's checkup golden. Studio collab. VR exhibit with Riley's Anims. Exile echoes. Virtual walks through kicked out nights. Emerging to Pride dawns. Debut at MCA, crowd immersed. Tears virtual and real. Climax crested November, election night. Global weirdness peaking. Local ballot. Inclusive housing measure. Queer shelters funded. We volunteered. Door knocking in Andersonville. Theo handing flyers with Vote Love. Results ticked in pass by slim. Street party erupted. Fireworks. Falafel trucks. Mom on a soapbox. From pews to polls. A quiet storm brewed. Alex, sketching by lamplight one eve. Set pencil down. Tour offer Tokyo, 6 months. Book promo. Heart stuttered. 6? Theo's school. Family trip? Or I say no. Wrestle. Opportunities siren. Roots pull. Theo overheard. Piping up at breakfast. Go, Papa. I'll hold the fort. Design something epic. Decision, yes, with caveats, monthly flights home, virtual story times. Departure January 2042. O'Hare a tear-streaked send-off. Mom hugged last. Bring back wasabi. And stories. Tokyo blurred kaleidoscopic. Neon queer bars in Shinjuku. Temples whispering ancient loves. Alex's readings packed. My remote designs syncing Pacific time. Theo's letters. School play. I'm the brave kid. Miss you. Midway. Betrayal's kin. A fan overstep. Drinks post-reading. Lines blurred. Alex confessed immediate. Call crackling. Nothing happened, but felt wrong. Wanted you first. Trust's muscle flexed. Good. Come home soon. Return April. Airport reunion a tackle hug from Theo. Scouts licks frantic. Brought machi. Alex grinned, bags bulging. Summer healed. Garden regreened with drip lines. Theo's 12th bash a splash pad soiree. Riley announced. Adopting. Cousin incoming. Mom's 90th loomed fall. Bash at the house. Tents in yard. Toasts flowed. Jerry on resilience. Tim on toasts. Literal. Sophia on surrogacy's gift. Theo's speech. Nana, you fixed the family. Like super glue. Tears, hers chief. Mine too, full circle, kicked out kid to patriarch. Winter 2043 whispered endings. Mom's cough lingered. Doc said pneumonia, but lungs frail. Hospital stays blurred. Our vigil rotation. Wore out my welcome, she joked, oxygen hissing. Last night, her hand in mine, proud, Tommy, of the bridge you built. Learned from you, kiss to forehead. She slipped on, gentle as dew. Funeral lakeside. Ashes scattered on Michigan. Words wind whisked. From Ohio fields to endless blue. Grief's wave crested, then ebbed. Spring planted her rosebush in the yard, thorns and all. 2045 marked 20 years since the door slam. Theo, 14, dug out my old backpack. Mothballed in attic. Your origin story? I's curious. Yeah. Rain and rebellion. We hiked the dunes that summer, family train. Riley's toddler on shoulders, Jerry's twin scampering, Alex's hand in mine. Summit view, lake infinite, sky vast. Redemption, Theo asked, wind tousling. I swept arm wide. This, all this. Alex squeezed. And more coming. Humanity's horizon. Dramatic, suspenseful. Laced with loss and lavish love. Kicked out for truth, redeemed in the radical return. Not fairy tale, but real as rain. Romantic as rivers running home. In America's heart, queered and claimed, we rise. Always.